Hi, friends. Welcome back to Glowing Anyway. I am so excited to be doing another episode. It actually has been quite a long time. Maybe not that long, maybe like a month. But honestly, life has just been so crazy. There have been so many changes. Things have been twirling and whirling, and everything is changing. And that's amazing. That's great. I just have been a little bit of like in a chaotic chapter of my life trying to like navigate all these new changes. So honestly, I got a little bit of creative block. And that is part of the reason why I haven't been recording, because when I hop on here, I want to be vulnerable with you guys. I want to be honest. I want to share experiences along with the things that I have learned from it. And I just couldn't find a way to show up authentically and to want to sit down and talk and yap with you guys because truthfully, I was burnt out. And that is kind of what this episode is all about today, is the way that burnout can sneak up on you and the quiet symptoms that we don't usually talk about, right? Because everybody hears burnout and they're like, that would never happen to me. Like, I'm doing all the things right. I know how to avoid it. I'm not doing enough to experience burnout, right? And everybody thinks that it's not going to be them until it is you. I did just want to kind of give you a little background on what has been going on, okay? So much. So much. If you are new here, my name is Liz. I am a 25-year-old single mom. I became a mom at 19 and my daughter is now 5. Crazy, so insane. She is starting kindergarten this year, so I have been navigating all of that, getting her like final arrangements for daycare. She's still in daycare for summer camp, and then I have to get her ready for her kindergarten school year. So we have to do kindergarten screenings, and they do like a kindergarten day camp to get the kids acclimated, and then we're gonna have to go school supply shopping and parent meet the teacher night eventually, figure out bus transportation routes. Like there just is so many moving parts to navigate, let alone navigate by yourself. So that has been a big part of this season, is accepting that like, oh my God, my baby is going to kindergarten. That makes me emotional. I can't believe how old she is, truthfully. I feel like we both were just babies living in my teenage bedroom at my parents' house. So to see how far we've come is actually quite insane. But I've been navigating that. I navigated a job change just a couple of months ago. I started doing social media management for a company, and genuinely, I love them so much. Like these girls have been so amazing to me. The company is so amazing. I love the kind of content I get to create from them. And truthfully, I am so sad to be leaving from the office, but I was offered a new job opportunity, and it truthfully is such an amazing next stepping stone for me and my daughter towards like true stability. And it's a great move for me career-wise. I definitely am very excited, but very nervous to enter that next chapter of my life. But I think that it's going to be really good for me. It's very naturally fitting for who I am as a person, the kind of work I want to be doing. And yeah, I'm very excited to start that journey in a couple of weeks. So that's going on. I'm navigating career changes. And then on top of that, I also do UGC work. So I ended up securing some monthly retainer deals with brands, which is very awesome, very great. I think anybody knows the secret to building financial freedom, financial stability, unfortunately, in this economy is multiple income streams. So that is what I've been up to. And if you're listening to that and you're like, wow, I'm exhausted just listening to you, just know it has been a lot for me to navigate myself. And I think once I get into the flow of things, it won't be so bad. It definitely does sound like a lot from the outside. It all just comes down to developing routines and habits and time blocking, honestly, and being as productive as possible without burning myself out, which obviously today we are talking about burnout and how I unintentionally led myself there. And you may be thinking, Alyssa, everything you just told us, yeah, that would make anybody go insane. That's enough to burn anybody out. On top of course, the added stressors of everyday life, grocery shopping, cooking all the meals, doing all the cleaning. It got to be a lot. it got to be a lot. I think it really genuinely, truthfully hit me when I was on my way to work. Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention, I also work at a restaurant on the weekends serving. Like, I really am just Little Miss does it all. I constantly keep myself busy. And we're going to touch on that in another episode, why that is. I was driving to work to the restaurant. I was working a catering event for the company that day down the road from the restaurant. And then I went and I closed that night at the restaurant. And I was driving on Route 9. I'm in the left lane and everything's fine. I'm listening to my music, right? I'm like a little stressed out because I'm running late and it was a new situation. I had never done a catering event before, so I didn't really know what to expect. I kind of can get anxiety when going into new situations. Like, I really just tend to overthink it. I'm a very sociable person. I love meeting people, talking with people, but being in a new environment like that can just be a little bit nerve-wracking at first, right? So I'm just driving to work and all of a sudden I'm stopped. I'm behind this big truck and everybody starts going. I go to go. My car starts shaking, like violently shaking and just not moving. And the check engine light goes on and I'm like, oh my God, this is not happening right now. Like, this really is not happening right now. I instantly just started panicking. I call my dad and I'm flipping out. Okay, realistically, I did not need to be freaking out the way I was freaking out, but that's how burnout sneaks up on you. And that's how I realized that I was experiencing symptoms of burnout, because you freak out over something that's realistically not that big of a deal. Like, okay, yeah, it sucks. Your car is breaking down. It was perfectly fine up until this point, right? Like, no warning signs. And now it's just randomly no good. But like, we didn't need to instantly freak out, girlfriend. And I mean, like, panic calling my dad. He didn't answer the phone. So I called my mom and I was like, why is dad not answering the phone? I need him to answer the phone right now. Like, the way that I was talking to my mom, you would think that like something awful, terrible happened. And my car was still driving, mind you. I mean, it was shaking, but she was driving. I just wanted to know if my car was going to explode. That's why I was calling my dad. I was like, Dad, I need you to tell me right now, like, is my car going to explode or can I keep driving? Yes or no? Because from where I was at to where I had to go for work, it was easily at least another 20 plus minutes. And then to go from work back to my house at the end of the night was like 45 minutes. So my dad, I love him to death, but the two of us together in a stressful situation is just like not good, because I'm panicking and then he gets anxiety. So he's like, calm down. It's fine. It's okay. But then that just freaks me out more. It just, I don't know. But he did tell me exactly what I had to do. And thank God he ended up fixing it the next day. So like, all was well. It was a very easy fix. I'm very grateful that my dad knows so much about cars and will literally come running to my rescue. Either of my parents would. So I am very grateful in that matter. But it was something so small that just completely set me over the edge. I remember calling one of my coworkers and they actually were like, oh, I was just calling you because we were working the catering event together. And I just instantly started ranting. I instantly broke down. My voice was getting shaky because I felt like I was about to cry. It was just kind of one of those situations where it was like the tip of the iceberg, right? I had all of these stressful things weighing up in my life, just stacking and stacking and stacking and not doing anything to actually relieve that stress in a healthy manner or lighten the load a little bit. And then that one little thing, right? That one little event just tipped the iceberg and everything came crashing down on me at once. And that's when I truly felt how heavy that weight was of the burnout that I had been experiencing for months. I mean, I have just been in this constant cycle of like grinding. What can I do to reach my goals faster? What can I do to do this or do that? Just constantly trying to get ahead and to build without taking enough time to refill my cup. When you're pouring, and you're not adding anything back in, you're going to run out, right? Eventually, you're going to run out. There's going to be nothing left to give. And I think so many people don't realize that burnout is so much more than just being like, oh, I'm tired. I'm tired. Yeah, you are going to feel tired, but it's different soul kind of tired. There's a lot of sneaky symptoms that honestly go over most people's heads because you're too focused on everything that you're trying to do that you don't even realize the symptoms for what they are. A big one a lot of people face, and I honestly even faced a little bit, is resenting the things that you used to love. So for me, that was content creation, sitting down and creating things for my podcast like I am right now, filming talking videos in the car, like just filming content for my own pages. I began to see it as a chore or as something that had to get done instead of the original why of why I started it, which was my genuine love for just sitting down and being vulnerable and talking like this and sharing my life experiences. This started as and is a form of expression for me. It's like my diary. It's like my personal digital diary that I'm sharing with the world. But it slowly began to turn into something that I felt like I had to do. It felt like another chore, just another like check on the list. And I began to resent it. I think a lot of people can resonate with this when you try to force something too hard or distracted by a billion other things in life. The stuff that you love is going to eventually start to just feel like another chore. Another symptom of burnout that I experience so heavily, especially as a single mom, is feeling behind no matter how much you actually get done. If you're an ambitious woman or an oldest daughter or a single mom, you probably can resonate with this, right? We constantly feel the pressure to prove ourselves in a way, right? Whether it's proving yourself to yourself, proving yourself to people who doubted you, proving yourself to the world, whatever your why may be, we get in a state of mind of feeling like we have to constantly go, go, go. You constantly have to be doing something. What can I do to better my future? What can I do to get ahead? How can I achieve financial freedom? How can I keep building my finances, right? And achieve my next goal? Your mind is just constantly running. It's very hard to shut off. And it's very easy to lose sight of how far you've come when you're constantly raising the bar and focusing on where you're going, right? Which is a great thing. It's such a wonderful thing to have ambitions and to have goals and to keep pushing like that and raising the bar for yourself. That's amazing. Genuinely, I commend you if you are like that. With that comes that constant nagging feeling of being behind, especially with the age that we're in of social media. I mean, I've said this so many times on this podcast, on my own social media accounts. Social media truly is a highlight reel. I genuinely believe that social media is responsible for the downfall of so many people's expectations, mental health, because it portrays an unattainable image of what you think your life should look like. And what I mean by that is you're comparing your chapter 5 to somebody's chapter 30. You're seeing somebody's highlight reel. You're seeing the aftermath, but you're not seeing what they went through to get to that point. Okay. You're not seeing the struggle. You're not seeing the hard nights, the long nights. You're not seeing the burnout. You're seeing what they built after that season, right? The outcome of seeds that they planted 10 years ago. And you're asking yourself, why am I not there in life yet? I'm working so hard. I'm doing all these things, but why am I not there yet? The truth is we all have different paths in life, right? It might take you 10 years to get somewhere that took somebody 2 years to get to. We all have different backgrounds. We all have different experiences. We all have different things we can leverage, different people that we know. You're exactly on time for your own life. But a big part of burnout is just constantly feeling like you're behind no matter what. Another thing that often gets super overlooked with burnout is physical symptoms. I had no idea that you would get physical symptoms from burnout. I mean, think of how crazy that is. Think of how much stress has to be on a person's plate that they haven't been releasing, they haven't been dealing with, to experience physical symptoms. I mean, for me, I experience a lot of tension, like muscle tension, specifically in my jaw. I think I tend to clench my jaw when I sleep because of how much stress that I'm constantly under. And then my back, like my upper back, my shoulders. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that's where a lot of people tend to carry burnout tension is in your back and your upper shoulders. And I just think that it's very symbolic almost of everything that you're carrying in life, right? It's all just weighing on you, weighing on your back, your shoulders, whatever. And I had no idea that that was a symptom of me experiencing burnout. I was just like, oh, I'm moving around all day. I have a preschooler who still wants me to pick her up and almost kindergartner. And maybe it's from that, maybe my mattress isn't good or this, that, and the other. No, girl, you're burnt out. You're burnt out from everything you've been carrying. That's why you have so much tension. But another symptom that people can experience, and I've talked to some friends who also have dealt with being burnt out, is you get sick so much more. Thankfully, knock on wood, I haven't really gotten sick too often, which is great. I feel like in the winter more so, but that comes with the seasons, But you can get sick a lot more. Your immune system can literally lower because of how much stress you're under, all of the cortisol in your body. It's crazy. And then another physical symptom is chronic fatigue. Like, no matter how much you sleep, it doesn't quite feel fixed. Like, you always feel kind of tired, kind of off, kind of drained. You physically feel like somebody has drained your battery pack and no amount of sleep can fix it. It's funny to me now. I laugh because I look back and I'm like, girl, you are the classic definition of burnt out. And I was just going along with it every day like it was normal. I was just like, yeah, this is how I feel. I'm a single mom. I do a lot. I do everything. This is just how I'm going to feel. And there are things you can do to fix it, which we are going to get into next. But I started taking naps again. Okay. Anybody who knows me knows I don't like to nap. I don't. The last time that I ever napped was probably in college, and it was because of depression. I mean, I started randomly falling asleep when I didn't have my daughter because my body was so exhausted. It was trying to catch up on sleep. A big part of starting to heal was telling myself that that was okay. If I needed sleep, it was okay to fall asleep for a couple of hours and not be productive every hour of my life, right? I think that that's a tough thing for some of us to accept who are very ambitious and are trying to build our lives, is like, it's okay for you to rest. Your body quite literally knows exactly what it needs. I mean, even when you're sick, like if there's something in your stomach that's not supposed to be there, what do? You get sick. If you're tired, you're going to fall asleep and take a nap. Your body knows exactly what to do, and you need to let it do that. Another few symptoms of burnout that you might be experiencing is emotional flatness or having a short fuse, snapping at people that you love. I will admit, I may have been a little bit snappy towards my family at times, just not even because of them, just because of all the stress that you're under. It's very easy to be short and snappy with people. So if you randomly are starting to act that way, know that it probably is a sign that you're burnt out and you need a break. And then one of our last symptoms that often goes ignored is doing everything on autopilot almost, like being disconnected from why you're doing something or from just doing it in general. This is kind of scary, and please don't get the wrong idea from this. I hope that people know exactly what I'm talking about, because I promise I'm a safe driver. I know what I'm doing. I know where I'm going. But have you ever had that phenomenon where you're driving and you're almost doing it on autopilot, whether you're driving home, a route that you always drive, and then you get home and you're like, how did I get home? You literally are like, I drove that route. I was paying attention, like I was driving, but I have no idea how I got home right now. I just kind of did it on autopilot. I was there, but I was not mentally there. I know that you guys have had that phenomenon, at least some of you at least once. So it's weird. It's a very strange thing to experience being on autopilot. And that was just the most relevant example I had. I'm constantly driving everywhere. And not always, but an especially tough day, or like at the end of the day, it's usually when I don't have my daughter in the car, when it's just me, I can just like go on autopilot and be like, okay, I'm home. home, but I don't recall any of that drive. Any of these things were burnout symptoms that I experienced, or burnout symptoms I've heard that other people have experienced that most of us don't even recognize as burnout. Like I said in the beginning of the episode, nobody wants to think that it's them until it is you, right? We all have our ego, okay? We all think that we're strong and that we can handle everything that the world throws at us. And yeah, you might be strong. You might be a very resilient person, but it gets to a point where you need to know when enough is enough and you're carrying too much. At the end of the day, we're all human. You can only hold so much before you start to break down. Okay. You were not meant to carry it all. You were not meant to do everything at once. And like I said before, being a single mom, I mean, I just have this constant need to prove myself, to better myself, right? To beat the stigmas and do whatever. And that can show up as me pushing harder when these symptoms come up, trying to ignore it. And that only ever makes it worse. So if you are listening to this and you're like, oh, yeah, I have a lot of those symptoms, I've gone through those same things, please do not do what I did and ignore it or try to push past it, because it's not going to end well. It's not going to turn out well. One day you're going to break down over something very minuscule like I did. And honestly, I'm still recovering from burnout right now. It's not like an overnight snap your fingers. Oh, I have burnout. Okay, let me heal it in a week. It's going to take time, and it takes consistent practice, and also you knowing the early signs, the early symptoms, so that you don't go back to that place, right? And at the end of the day, they're going to look different for everybody. They're going to look different for all of us. You have to know yourself well enough to know when to take a step back. The actual process of coming back to yourself is so much more than just self-care. You can't face mask your way out of it. You can't bubble bath your way out of it. All of those things are important, but it's not as simple as that. One of the most important steps that hopefully by the end of this episode now you have realized is naming it out loud, naming it for what it is, right? Because it's hard to admit that you're burnt out. It's hard to admit that you couldn't handle everything you tried to throw on your plate, even though it was enough for 3 people's plates. It's hard to admit that out loud instead of just trying to push through it or push past it like it's not happening. One of the next steps to coming back to yourself is being able to let go of certain things or simplify things, okay? Whether it means putting something on a back burner temporarily, taking a step back from something temporarily, you need to sit down and categorize what is genuinely important right now, okay? What is actually moving your life forward? What actually is something that has to get done to keep your life moving, right? Whether it be doctor's appointments or kindergarten registration, that's something that I have to do. So that obviously has to stay on the list, but stuff like running, 6 different social media accounts for my podcast or my own personal page, that's not something that I have to do right now to keep my life moving forward. And that's why I hadn't posted on the podcast in like a month, maybe 2 months now, because I was able to look at it and say, okay, yeah, this is something I love doing. This is something I would love to build, but I need to take a step back right now because I'm putting too much on my plate, and I need to revisit this when I feel that I'm able to. I need to revisit this because I want to, and it's more of like a therapy session for me and a little venting session, and I feel authentically inspired rather than me just sitting down and recording because I have to do that, right? Because that's when I start to show up in a way that's not me. And that's never something I want to do for this podcast. I take pride in the authenticity of this. This is literally me sitting down with my little show notes and my water and my candle and just yapping. I don't ever want to show up and have it feel forced or not have it feel like natural or aligned, because you can feel that. So know what you have to let go of or simplify. And it doesn't mean letting go of it entirely. It could just mean putting it on a back burner. And then the next step to that, once you let go of those things, once you simplify your list, is picking one thing at a time to rebuild, to restart after you kind of have had that reset period, right? And we're not talking about a whole life overhaul. Okay. Rebuilding does not mean picking back up everything you put down and redoing it all at the same time. Okay. Because that is going to get you right back to square one. That is going to lead you right back into burnout. We're not doing that. Okay. Pick one thing. A small thing is better, and slowly start to rebuild that thing. Find out how it can fit into your life in a healthy manner rather than overtaking everything. So you have your base schedule now of things that you have to do, your priorities, your responsibilities, your very baseline. Once you're used to that, once you have self-care blocked in and healing blocked in, all of those things, then you can slowly start to rebuild and add things. With that being said, if at any point that thing starts to become stressful again, it starts to feel like it's overloading your life, know when to take a step back. And I will touch on that again in a second because I kind of want to get to this point before I wrap it up with that point. But another thing that is so important to coming back to yourself is reconnecting with why you started. Trying to remember the version of you before you experienced the burnout, right? What is your why? Why did you start doing these things? Why did you start building these things, adding all these things on your plate? Like, what is the reason for each one? What did that version of you before burnout look like? What was she doing to practice self-care? What was she doing to take care of herself so that she wasn't experiencing these symptoms of burnout that you are now? And for me, I think back to when I first moved into this apartment, everything was amazing and peachy because I had never lived on my own before. I was so excited to have my own place. Things were just going really, really great. And during that time, I was romanticizing my life to the max. I was in my hope core, romanticize your life era before like the weight of life kind of crushed me. In the last season, I've lived in my apartment for like 2.5 years now, I think. So yeah, obviously when you first move in and you're out on your own for the first time, it's like a little honeymoon phase, right? Before you realize just how much goes into it. And you're like, oh, okay. Which over time you adjust to those things and that becomes the new normal. But I think that that's such a big difference from where I was and where I am now is little by little along the way and unintentionally, I stopped romanticizing my life. I stopped doing the things that made me feel so alive and so happy and kept refilling my cup so that I could keep going in a healthy manner. And I think it's really important to reconnect with that version of yourself and sprinkle more of that back in wherever you can. So wrapping back around to my other point and our last point for coming back to yourself is knowing when to stop, knowing when to take a step back, knowing when enough is enough, recognizing those early burnout symptoms so you don't find yourself headfirst in the depths of it and having it be that much harder to climb back out of. What are your early warning signs? Because it's going to look different for everybody. I mean, for me, I know when I'm starting to experience burnout when I'm exhausted all the time. That's number one for me. I will drink 2 energy drinks a day and still be tired. That's not a good sign. That's pretty much classic burnout symptoms. That's one of my very first signs. Like, okay, you're not good. You're unwell. We got to take a step back, you know? And then other than that, it's like losing love for the things that I like to do, or more specifically, having creative block. That's a huge one for me. I know that I'm starting to feel burnt out when my creativity goes away. Okay. Because I'm a very creative person in almost every aspect. I love writing. I love journaling. I love talking like this, all those kinds of things. I love arranging flowers. When I feel my creativity start to slip, when I cannot even sit down and record a talking video in my car for 15 seconds, I know that I'm experiencing burnout because my creativity is weird. It kind of will just come to me at very random times. Before I filmed this episode, I don't know what happened, but this random huge wave of creativity came over me. And I kid you not, I wrote out 8 episode outlines. Obviously, we're not going to do those all at once because what does that lead to? burnout, but it came back to me and I was like, this is great. I'm doing things clearly that are helping my burnout because my creativity is coming back. But know when to recognize your own early burnout symptoms and then know to kind of take a step back and reevaluate. And I want to kind of close this episode out by saying that if you are somebody experiencing burnout right now, if you are suspicious that you're experiencing burnout or you're going into it, please know that you are not lazy, okay? You're not weak for having to take a step back because you couldn't handle everything. You are not broken for not being able to handle everything. Burnout, quite literally, is from carrying too much. It's from carrying things that are so heavy that it was humanly impossible for you to hold it all, okay? It doesn't come from handling a normal mental load, a normal physical load. It quite literally is from doing too much and not taking the time to properly re-pour into your life in whatever way that looks like for you. You can give and give and give all you want, okay? You can work as hard as you want towards building the life that you want, but all of that means nothing if you can't be the version of you that can truly enjoy it. If you are burnt out, stressed out, kind of a ghost of yourself in a haze, in a fog, when you achieve those things, when you reach those things, none of it is going to matter because you didn't take the time to care for yourself along the way and to do the things that refill your cup along the way so that you can be filled with hope. You can be filled with joy. You can slow down and have gratitude for the little things that you're experiencing. So knowing when to recognize burnout, how to spot the early symptoms, how to come back from it in a healthy way is so, so important on your journey of life. It is equally as important as making plans, having ambition, taking care of yourself, taking care of your mental health is hot. That is the new hot girl thing, okay? We take care of ourselves. We know how to recognize these things and we truly, genuinely work on them in a way that is healthy. So if you made it through this whole episode, if you tuned in, thank you so much for being back on another episode of Glowing Anyway. It truly felt so nice to sit down and record this. I tried something new today. We're in my bedroom. And I have my little candle going. And honestly, I low-key like this more than the couch. Let me know in the comments what background you like more. If you like my bedroom, if you like the living room. I like this setup the best, I think. I feel like I can be the most vulnerable because I am so cozy and just chilling in my bed. So we'll see. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope that this episode was insightful for you, inspiring, motivates you to take a step back and recognize that you're doing a lot. Okay? You're doing a lot. You can do a lot of things, girl, but you can't do them all. If you're not already, be sure you're following us on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and share with a friend who you think could benefit from hearing this episode. And I will talk to you guys real soon. So take care of yourselves, be gentle with yourselves, and pour back into your cup this week. Bye, guys.